This is the Moog Messenger. And for a Moog, this is actually affordable. At under $900, this is the easiest way to buy a Moog synth with a keyboard attached. This is a pretty big deal. And yes, there's even an analog Wavefolder on a Moog synth under $900. Now, it looks like a Moog, it sounds like a Moog, but it feels a bit different. And maybe this is the future of Moog and a signal of more things to come. So let's have a look around and see if this is an entry-level synth worth buying and how it stands up to the competition. So what exactly is the Messenger? It's a new monophonic analog synth from Moog with a keyboard built in, a full set of knobs, and a price that's way more approachable than most Moogs. It's built for playability with a focus on performance and sound design. Out of the box, it's got classic bass and lead sounds, of course. What do you think? Does this sound like a Moog? You've got dual analog oscillators, a classic ladder filter, onboard presets, 2 LFOs, and an ARP and sequencer built in. And what do you think of the filter sound? Is it Moog or something new? Comment below. Alright, besides the basics, there are a few surprises here, and the first is a Wavefolder for the oscillators. That's something you usually find on modular gear, not in a Moog, and definitely not under $900. It works by folding a waveform, literally pushing it past its limits and reflecting it back, creating extra harmonics and brightness without using distortion or effects. So why is it important to your music? Well, it gives you a whole new palette of sounds, especially for anything that needs to cut through a mix. Anytime you need it, just turn the wave shape counterclockwise, and it gives this synth a sound palette you just don't get from other Moogs. We've seen Arturia do wavefolding before, like the Metalizer on the Mini Brute or certain digital modes on the Microfreak. Okay, another cool thing you can't see, there's Aftertouch on this key bed. That's when you press a key and then press a little harder and the synth responds with extra expression. And it can do lots of stuff. Add a bit of wobble or open the filter without touching a knob. Alright, so the Messenger has a great solution for bass sounds called Res Bass, a first for Moog. But before we get into that, let's just have a quick look around. Over on the left, we've got the pitch and mod wheels. Above that is LFO2, which is tied to the mod wheel. You can send it to pitch, filter, or volume. And it's a triangle wave. Simple, but musical. You also get octave buttons for shifting the keyboard range, a glide control, and a whole button that works like a latch for drones or ARPs. Next up, the oscillators. There are 2 analog VCOs, plus a sub-oscillator that follows oscillator 1. Each oscillator has a wave-shaped knob, and this is where that Wavefolder lives. Turn it counterclockwise from triangle, and you get those folded harmonics I showed you earlier. You also get tuning, sync, FM, and some nice modulation routing from the envelopes or other oscillators. From there, everything hits the mixer. You can blend oscillator 1, oscillator 2, the sub, and even a noise source. Next is the filter, and this one's special. It's still a Moog ladder filter, but you get low pass, band pass, and high pass modes. Really nice to have all 3 of these on a budget Moog. We have a res bass button right here. I'll show you what that does in a bit. And next you get 2 looping ADSR envelopes, one for filter, one for amplitude. Each one can loop like an LFO and both respond to velocity. That's a lot of motion for a mono synth at this price. Then we've got LFO1, fully assignable with multiple waveforms, and it can go pretty fast. You can send it to filter cutoff, oscillator frequency, or wave shape, and even assign it to other knobs using a quick mod routine. Above the keyboard, you've got the programmer section. This is where you load patches, tweak the sequencer, save sounds, and jump into deeper settings. There are 256 patch slots, and you can even save a unique sequence per patch. Really nice. On the far right, you've got the button for the sequencer and arpeggiator. The sequencer supports real-time and step input, parameter recording, swing, and even probability and note pools. It's pretty deep and still quick to use. So yeah, there's a lot here. But I think it's well organized. I think Moog really made this feel familiar if you've used synths before, but also approachable if you haven't. And once you've touched these knobs, yeah, it still feels like a Moog. Okay, so what's up with that res bass button? I'll get to that next. But first, if you're looking for the latest synths or any gear for your studio, you can find it on guitarcenter.com or at your local Guitar Center store. Whether you're a bedroom producer or ready for the stage, you can find what you need at great prices. They've got all the stuff you've seen me review, including studio monitors, audio interfaces, mics, software, and of course, instruments. And if you're not sure what you need, their staff can give you some advice as well. I can't tell you how many times I've visited my local store when I needed some gear for my videos. Check out the deals they've got today. I always start on their featured deals page. You know we like to save money on Sanjayc. There's even pre-owned gear on their site if you're looking for a super deal. It doesn't matter what your skill level or budget is, you'll find what you need on their site. I'll add a link to Guitar Center below the video, and if you want to check out the gear I use in my studio, you'll find a page directly to my recommendations below as well. Thanks to Guitar Center for sponsoring, and let's get back to the Messenger. So, the res bass feature solves a problem. Moog filters are famous for their warmth and character, but when you turn up the resonance, they often lose some of the low-end punch. The Messenger adds a switch called res bass that fixes that. It keeps your bass frequencies intact even when resonance is high, so you can get those classic Moog filter sweeps without your sound thinning out. It's a small addition, but it makes the filter way more usable in a full track or live set. Now, here's something else you don't always get in analog synths, especially not in Moogs. The Messenger gives you 256 patch slots, which is kind of comparable to the Uno Synth Pro by IK Multimedia, and more than you get with the Korg Monologue or Novation Bass Station. That's 16 banks of 16 presets, all savable from this front panel. It's a small feature that makes a big difference, especially if you're taking this on stage or building a library of sounds over time. The Messenger has a built-in 64-step sequencer that can be saved with every patch too. You can enter steps manually or record it in real time, and it supports transposition, swing, and multiple play modes. Okay, what else? How about the ADSR envelopes? The Messenger's envelopes don't just shape sound, they can loop like extra LFOs. That means you can create rhythmic modulation or repeating pulses without even using the main LFOs. Both the amp and filter envelopes can loop independently, and they can go fast enough to create motion or even a texture in your patches. The Messenger's modulation matrix is also very simple. You can assign sources like velocity, aftertouch, LFOs, or even an expression pedal to most of the synth parameters. Filter cutoff, wave shape, pitch, and more. It's not a deep visual matrix, there is no screen on here, but it's quick to use and it gives you a lot of expression. You also get classic filter feedback and audio rate FM. The feedback routes the output back into the filter for more drive and growl, like a mini Moog trick. And with the filter FM switch on, Oscillator 2 can modulate the filter cutoff at audio rates. That adds metallic overtones, chaos, or a subtle edge depending on how you use it. It adds some warmth, gain, or full-blown scream depending on how far you push it. That's how you get metallic growls, broken textures, and weird harmonic artifacts, stuff you usually need more modular gear for. Now on the back, the Messenger has full modular ready connections. You've got CV and gate in and out, clock in and out, an audio input for processing external gear, and USB-C plus DIN MIDI. So even if you're starting with just this synth, it can grow with your setup, whether you're adding pedals, modular gear, or just syncing to a Groovebox. So what about the build quality? When you first pick it up, it feels lighter than I expected for a Moog. The body feels more like a budget Korg, like the Minilog. Well, maybe a bit more heavy than that. It's plastic, not metal. That might be a good thing for portability, but it doesn't have that classic tanky Moog feel. But the knobs, they feel good resistance, very clean. It's just the rest of it that feels kind of budget. Now, it's worth mentioning, Moog was recently acquired by InMusic. Yeah, the company behind Akai, Alesis, M-Audio, and others. This might explain the more mass market build, and it could mean we see more budget-friendly Moog gear in the future. Whether that's good or bad, I'll leave it to the comments. What do you think? Do you want to see a Moog MPC? All right, so you've heard a lot of pros. What about some cons? Well, the Messenger obviously does cut a few corners to hit this price point. The build feels basic. There's also no polyphony. You can't play multiple notes at the same time, no chords. That's expected for a monophonic synth, but it's still worth pointing out for beginners. You also don't get any built-in effects, which might matter if you're not pairing this with pedals or a DAW. Modulation depth is solid, but you're limited to one assignment per source, so you won't get complex mod layering like deeper synths. And lastly, there's no screen. Everything is done with buttons and knobs, which keeps things simple but might feel a little limiting to some. So is the Moog Messenger the perfect first analog synth? For some people, yeah, it really might be. You're getting real analog tone, wavefolding, patch memory, a deep sequencer, and hands-on control in a nice compact design. It's not the beefiest build Moog has ever made, but the sound and feature set can make up for this, especially at this price. I'd say this is ideal for someone who wants to go beyond basic synths, but isn't really ready to dive into modular or menu-heavy gear just yet. And honestly, I've been having fun just messing around with the looping envelopes and Wavefolder patches for hours. That says something. If you have questions, leave them in the comments and keep making the music you love. I'll see you in the next video.